You have passed your nursing boards, applied to a handful of positions as a new nurse graduate, and now you are receiving your first call to schedule an interview. You are excited and nervous all at the same time. I get it. The first piece of advice, relax. An interview is not an interrogation. It's a professional conversation. You will need to prepare, practice, and understand what it takes to be successful in an interview. So let's review together the importance of practicing your responses to interview questions and researching the organization, examining the job description that you found online and applied to, having resumes on hand as well as a professional references page. What will you wear? A phone interview can be the first step in the process, or even a video interview. It will be important to know and understand the spaces that you are in to receive a call or a video chat. And how do you follow up after the interview? Interview questions. The part of the interview process that makes individuals the most anxious, yet it is what makes the interview an interview. You have to know and understand how to sell your skills and your qualifications to the person or people that you are speaking with. Understanding what employers are wanting to know when asking questions is a good first step. Tell me about yourself. This is an opportunity for you to discuss who you are as a professional. Avoid any personal information. If you have a background in healthcare, where did you start and how did you get to where you are today? If you don't have a background in healthcare, then talk about your passion for nursing and why you made the decision to become a nurse. Strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has them. Remember I said that the interview is the place for you to sell your skills and qualifications, so you're not bragging when you speak to your strengths. Depending upon how this type of question is asked, you may speak to one or even more of your strengths. Think back to your clinical work and the areas that you really thrived. Be sure that you discuss patient care and communication as well. When it comes to a weakness, find a transferable skill that you have been working on while you're in school, perhaps. Let's say you worked on time management because you had family, work, and school to balance. You could simply state that while you were in school, you've been working on your time management skills by making use of lists and calendarizing your days and weeks. It's an area that you've been making positive improvements, but you'd still like to continue learning best practices as you advance in your nursing career. An employer just wants to know that as an employee, you understand the concept of continuous improvement and can recognize the areas in yourself that need a little work. Simple as that. Why do you want to work here? Understanding the mission and the vision of an organization and being able to align your own personal nursing mission statement with theirs will provide an excellent response to this question. You certainly do not want to simply repeat their mission and vision statement back to them because they already know it. They want to know that you understand what their mission and vision statements really mean. It will be important to research each organization that you interview with and practice your response. Every company has a culture, and they want to know that you're going to be a great fit for the team. Behavioral questions. Tell me a time when you had a conflict, a misunderstanding, an upset customer or patient. These types of questions all revolve around conflict resolution and your ability to work it out and get back to your job. It will be important to apply good communication skills when responding to this question. Do you have the ability to listen, to empathize and support, and to come to a positive resolution? You will need to include a short story about this topic. So pick an example that has a good outcome and didn't require you to run to a supervisor maybe for assistance. Do not make the statement, well, I get along with everybody and have never had a misunderstanding at work. That's just not true. Even if it's a small misunderstanding of some sort, communication was necessary to resolve the misunderstanding. Practice your responses to this question several times until you become comfortable. These next two questions will also require an example of the steps you took to resolve an issue. An obstacle is something that gets in the way of progress. So how did you get past it? Going above and beyond is generally outside of what you would normally do to help someone achieve what they want to achieve or to help them become more comfortable in a tough situation. Tell a short story about that. The most important concept to understand when it comes to responding to behavioral questions is that you must produce a response to each question. If you have truly never experienced something, then discuss something similar, but then talk about how you would approach the situation should it actually happen. Then we have those nursing specific questions. Why do you want to become a nurse? Think about what we talked about when we discussed the question, tell me about yourself, especially if your background is not in healthcare. If you have a personal example of caring for your grandmother over a significant period of time, then it's okay to share that this is what inspired you to get into nursing. Just be sure that you're keeping it brief and you avoid the details about the care that you provided unless you're asked. What's difficult about becoming a nurse? It's okay to share something. You're a new nurse. Just be sure to emphasize that you are looking forward to learning and growing in that area and within the profession. How would you handle an upset family member or patient? This goes back to that topic of conflict resolution. Is it important to ask questions at the end of the interview? 100% yes. It shows your vested interest in the position and the organization. What are some of the major challenges your nurses currently face? What advice would you give to a nurse who is new to your unit? Can I reach out to you? What are the next steps in the interview process? These are just some of the questions that could be asked at the end of the interview. But note that follow-up after the interview is important, and we will cover more about this toward the end of the presentation. Before you go into the interview, you must research the organization. You can start with the company website or a general Google search or LinkedIn. You can even follow the company on LinkedIn. Your research should give you good insight into the competition in the market. Know where the employer's place is in the market. This will help to enhance your conversation at the interview. Company culture has been discussed as well as knowing the mission statement of the organization. All information that can be gleaned from doing research. Do your research. One additional step to take that can also help to enhance your conversation with the interviewer is to research them. If you haven't been given a name of who you're going to be interviewing with, or you can't find anything on the company website, then you can potentially find them on LinkedIn. Know the job description and how your skills and abilities align with the position. It's recommended that you either print or save the job description for each position that you apply to so that you can review it in detail prior to the interview. Once interviews start, you may not be able to pull it up online anymore because the employer may have taken it down. Be prepared to speak confidently about your education, your skills, and your abilities. What to bring to the interview? Copies of your resume. Recommended that you bring more than what you think you're going to need. Copies of a professional references page. References should be on a separate, professionally prepared document. Certifications, license, letter of recommendation are always great to have on hand. Notepad and pen. It's perfectly acceptable to take notes during an interview, and it's a great place to include those lists of questions that you will ask at the end of the interview as well. Phone, directions, and company contact information. Anything can happen. So should you get into an accident on the way to the interview, you have everything with you that you need to call them. Let them know what happened and ask if you can reschedule an interview. Do not take your phone into the interview with you. If for some reason it's not safe to keep your phone in the vehicle, then you must turn your phone off. It's not okay for the phone to vibrate during an interview. What should you wear to an interview? Think conservative, neutral colors. You can wear a business suit or dress business casual. Dress slacks or skirt is optional, and a small heel or flats, closed-toed dress shoe, please. Whatever you choose, you must keep feet and legs covered. So some type of hosiery is going to be needed. And gentlemen, please wear dress socks. No white sports socks. No crazy colors or patterns, and be sure that your outfit is cleaned and ironed. Limit your jewelry and makeup and skip the perfume and cologne. In the healthcare field, sensitivities to smell can be problematic, so it's best to go without. and do not show up smelling like cigarette smoke. It's recommended to pull your hair off your face, cover your tattoos, and remove all the piercings, with the exception of earrings. Clean hands and well-manicured nails, no chipped polish on the nails, and avoid long nails. You never know who you will be interviewing with, so it's best to keep colors earth-toned and neutral and think simple to play it safe. So whether you are receiving a phone call for an initial phone interview or a video chat for an initial interview, you want to make sure that you are in a space that's quiet and allows you to focus. Make sure that your call is not going to drop during the interview or your video is not going to drop, that you have a strong internet connection and that you've tested your camera and your audio prior to the interview. Whether you're arriving in person, preparing for a phone interview, or a video interview, be prepared 10 minutes in advance. Be prepared to show up 10 minutes in advance if it's an in-person interview. Okay? All right, don't forget, the interview begins when the employer first contacts you. Demonstrate professionalism throughout the interview process, whether you're talking on the phone, meeting in person, sending an email. Email is huge. Make sure that your sentences are grammatically accurate and you have professionalism carried throughout that email. Note that illegal interview questions are not okay for someone to be asking you. These would include information around your age, race, gender, national origin or birthplace, your family situation or marital status, religion, reference to disabilities. If you have any questions about these at all, please reach out to your career services advisor. Stay professional again at all times and articulate that you have a strong work-life balance. Back to the follow-up and the importance of following up after the interview. Do not leave without contact information, email, phone number, name. Send a thank you email as soon as you can after the interview, and if you have the ability to and time to handwrite a thank you card and put it in the mail, or type out a thank you letter and put it in the mail, even better. It's okay for you to reach back out in 1 to 2 weeks after your interview. Please reach out to your career services advisor with any questions that you have regarding the interview process.